Hey everyone, so obviously this isn't the news I wanted to return to the channel with. Sad day in basketball, sad day in the world, sad day in America, where we lost an icon. We lost one of the greatest athletes ever. The list goes on, Academy Award winner, with Kobe. I wanted to be real careful with how I did this, with putting something out there and just making sure I didn't just fall under the, you know, it's the trend, it's what's hot, it's what's trending online, so it's gonna get a lot of attention. I wanted to make sure that I didn't just fall under that trap, because with the internet these days, of course, as you know, everything is so fickle, and there's so much fake kind of love, if you will. Just an example, I was gonna make a video actually sometime this week or in the next couple weeks about Delonte West, because Delonte West was the hot topic earlier in the week, and by the end of the week, a couple days later, they announced the All-Star starters and everybody forgot about Delonte West. And when Delonte West was the topic, it was like, we have to have a serious discussion on mental health. We have to do this, and the black community, the NBA has to get together and do something for Delonte West. LeBron, I'm not supporting the NBA anymore until they take mental health seriously, because they got this guy who just, and a couple of days later, everybody just forgot, like the entire topic of the timeline changed. And I just wanted to point that out with this. So these days, I like to be a little more kind of sit back and reserve judgment, excuse me, but before I go out and just put something out publicly to speak on issues like this. But with, in this case, this is gonna be talked about for a long time. This is kind of like, this is like when Nipsey passed, but I guess it's a little more amplified because Nipsey was always that big on the West Coast. On the mainstream level, he wasn't as big in America as far as his music goes. Everybody knew his impact, especially if you were in the hip-hop community or hip-hop culture. You knew his impact whether or not you listened to his music. However, people outside the hip-hop kind of world, the hip-hop world, or if you weren't on the West Coast, you might not have known that much about Nipsey Hussle, if you knew anything about him at all before he passed. This is much different with Kobe Bryant. If you knew basketball, if you didn't know basketball, if you know sports, if you don't know about sports, everybody knew who Kobe Bryant was. It's Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan. Those are three names that everybody knows, regardless of how much they know about sports or basketball. With Kobe, the way that he went from being kind of like the stern, competitive guy that cared about nothing but winning, you kind of see him, and you can kind of parallel his path with Will Smith, of how they were all just about winning and becoming the best, and they grinded and they got all the way to being the best, and then they were like, life is much more than this. Some sort of motivational speakers, and they reached back, you know, they reached the top of the ladder, and then they kind of came back down from their little side corner, or whatever you will call it, of fame and success and everything that people do when they get that successful. They kind of just go off in their own corner, keep to themselves, do their job, dominate, then go back to themselves. Kobe and Will Smith, both, when they got to the top of the mountain, what we've seen from the last couple of years from both of those guys is they kind of reached their arm back down to help pull up the next generation of kids, people, anybody else, always inspiring others to be great. They lived that out with their lives, and then they realized that just them being great wasn't good enough once they got to the top, and once they did that. And I think that's something that we can all take from Kobe. A lot of people, obviously, Mamba mentality, all of those things are extremely important to make sure that you create the best version of yourself each and every single day. That's obvious. That's obvious that you know you want to take that from Kobe Bryant. If you take nothing else, you want to continue to improve on yourself, achieve all your goals, because it's possible. I'm telling you, it's possible. It happened for me. One of my biggest moments of my career, of my life, was when I got to ask Kobe Bryant a question. I was in college, my second game maybe, as a credentialed member of the media, going to Hawks games and stuff like that. Kobe just announced his retirement earlier that week in DC, before the DC game. But when he came to Atlanta, it was like he announced it on Monday, and the Atlanta game was Friday, and it was just packed, man. Like his warm-up, it was a whole corner of cameras, and camera phones, like filming him, recording him as he's shooting. And it was just super insane to see Kobe Bryant. I was there with my good friend Joey Redmond. Anyways, speeding up the story, end of the game, he takes forever to come out. Oh, and it's just, forever for Kobe to come out. Kobe finally comes out. There's a Lakers backdrop. The room is so packed that I literally had to stand on the side, and I was standing like right by the Lakers little platform. So every time I would laugh, I would make the little Laker platform wiggle or whatever in the background. But I didn't know that I would have the chance to have a good picture with Kobe. I think I kind of knew. I was like, hey bro, Joey, you got me? You gonna get me on the picture, man? But when I saw the videos come out and all that afterward, it was something I was just like, wow, this is a moment I could truly cherish for the rest of my life. I wrote about it afterward and just everything that Kobe meant to me. On the court, I've always been a Kobe over LeBron guy. I know that's a debate that a lot of people kind of want to be like, all right, I'm off that debate. We've been talking about that for years. It's over with. Let that man rest in peace, and may he rest in peace. But since I was on the Kobe side, I do want to say is his demeanor, the way he locked in, that killer mentality. I'm gonna get it. I don't care who's in my way. The 5 championships, 5 and 2. He lost 08 and 04, 5 and 2 in the finals. Kobe is just amazing. 60-point game is a crazy story as well. We were at Taco Mac. I was at Taco Mac with my boys, and I had a paper due that next day on a book that I didn't even read. It was in like some history class. I don't even remember the name of the class. And we went to Taco Mac, and in between every commercial break, like I would talk with the guys, and they were playing Kobe on one TV, and then the 73rd win for the Warriors game on the other TV. During the game, I'll be, yeah, Kobe. I'll be in it with the guys. And then during commercial breaks, I would be locked into my phone scrolling on Cliff Notes. And I read the entire Cliff Notes of the book. I finished it when I got back to the parking lot, and I wrote that paper that night on a book I didn't read. I was just going off of Cliff Notes. I washed clothes to keep myself up. This is just a college lifestyle. If anybody's been in college, you probably had a few of these nights. I know I had a handful of them. And I stayed up all night. I finished at like 6 a.m. or something like that. And I had class at like 9, so I just stayed up. Printed it out, went to the library before class, and handed in my paper. It's just like, well, I got something in the air, something up. And I ended up getting an A on the paper. I got like a 91. When I got it back, I was just like, oh, that's so crazy. It's the Kobe paper, the Kobe game. And that was just always a big deal to us. Just the Kobe paper and the Kobe game. So that 60 points when he was struggling to get going all night, and he was just missing every shot, but everybody was cheering him on, and he was so tired. He had he was so bad that last season on the court, but you know, every now and then he showed flashes of, you know, he can still, you know, spot up a couple times in a row and get it going. But he finally got into a zone in that 4th quarter, and it was like, yes, this is what we've all been waiting for. And he just knocked it down, and it was something magical, something that you can't recreate. It's something that that only a few handful of athletes can create in their last games. I remember Jeter's last game, he did something remarkable. Kobe, he meant a lot to me because I was born in the 90s, 95, and we're getting up there now, but to us, to our generation, we weren't there for Michael in his prime. We weren't there for Michael when he was on the Bulls. My first memories of watching the NBA was during the time of Michael coming back to the Wizards. That was like the biggest story at the time in the league. And then you had AI, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, who else? Jason Kidd, Shaq, and Kobe. Like, those were the guys. Those were the main guys in the league. Chris Webber. That was our Michael Jordan. You know, that was our Jordan, you know. I remember LeBron when he was in high school. I remember when LeBron came into the league. So I kind of still looked at him as like a kid, a young one, someone new in the league. And Kobe, but Kobe was like already established. Like, those are just the guys, my generation, that I relate to or whatever, you know. those Vince Carters and stuff. So when Vince retires, that's pretty much, that is it. That isn't pretty much it. With Dirk already retiring last year, all we have left is Vince. So once he retires, everything's gone. Just now going back to what he was doing recently with his daughter, how passionate his daughter was about the game, and how passionate he was about helping out his daughter and being a coach for that team, and showing up to every WNBA game, showing love to everybody. Like, well, you guys know this, but he was becoming an OG that supported everybody now. Like, going back to my first point, Zendaya, I remember he supported a lot. Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Foxx, like all of these people, Kobe was just huge supporters of. Trae Young, he was a big supporter of. Jaylen Brown, all these guys on Detail that he would break down. You could tell that he really loved these people. Jason Tatum, all these guys. Very tragic, very unfortunate that it ended this way, but of course, everything, you just have to trust God and his timing. You can't question his plan. He doesn't make mistakes, and if this was Kobe's time to go, it was his time to go. It's just heartbreaking to look back at it in retrospect and think like, dang man, like 41 years old, he played 20 years with the Lakers. That was nearly half of his lifespan. And you think about, say he wanted to be the greatest basketball player since he was 7 years old. Just throwing that out there, going up under his father. 7 years old. So the past 4 years, he's still been involved with basketball. 10 years before the league, 20 years in the league, 4 years after the league. That is 34 years. 34 years of 41 years of life, all devoted to basketball. Or it's just tough to think that like his life was just basketball, and we didn't. I felt like maybe the world was kind of robbed to see what he could do, you know, just growing old and getting older and always being here. And you know, some people, Marcus Morris said it best when he said Superman isn't supposed to die. When guys are on this high of a level, when they're, you know, this elite status and this legendary, this iconic, they don't end in just a tragic way. At 41, Michael Jackson was a crazy thing that happened. Even then, he was still 50. Whitney Houston was still like 50. Kobe wasn't even 42. Vince Carter just turned 43 today. He dunked in the game. He's still going. Prayers to Vanessa and the family, the older sister, the younger sisters, the other family that passed away, Gigi's teammate, and her mother and her father, who was also a coach on the team. Rest in peace to that family as well. Prayers out to that family as well. Rest in peace to Gigi, of course. She was someone who was like in the same lane as Sharif O'Neal, in the same lane as Bronny, in the same lane as Zaire Wade, of like, you know, we grew up, we watching them grow up because the camera's with them every game. You know, we watch their highlights after every game on Slam, on Overtime. And to know that she was coming into her own, she was developing a passion for the game, and she's no longer here with us. That's heartbreaking too, in its own way, because it's always sad when a teenager loses their life. If you've ever been in high school and you lost a high school classmate or a former classmate while they were still in high school, while they were still a teenager, to a tragedy, it's tough. It's tough to deal with. It's hard to accept as a kid that young, because you hear about these things all the time, about a 12-year-old dying, 11-year-old dying, 13, 14, 15, 16. But when it actually happens to you and affects you firsthand, you're just distraught of, and then you kind of get that wake-up call of how short life is. And it's going to take those kids a while, like her classmates and her teammates, to get over that. So you just prayers to them and their well-being. But Kobe, man, we love you, dude. I love you. I'll never forget all the moments that you provided for us. The Phoenix Suns game, where when you hit to send it into overtime, and then you hit the game winner in overtime. I'll never forget 81 points. I'll never forget 61 in the Garden. I'll never forget you and Shaq. I'll never forget, I'll never forget the 08 finals when you lost and then Shaq went to the club and said Kobe couldn't do without me. And then you won too, just to shut Shaq up. is everything, man. Thank you for everything, bro. I love you. I'm glad you got your flowers when you got to smell them. And I hope all of you use this as a lesson to continue to leave all the problems and all the beefs at the door. Leave all the drama at the door, man. Drop all that right now. If you ever have someone that you tight with, you don't have a really good relationship with them right now, call them up, hit them up, text them. If you don't have their number anymore, email, DM, Facebook message, whatever you have to do, and get that right, man. Get on right terms, get right with God, all that good stuff, and tell people that you love them. Spread love. I think that's the most important thing that we can do. Spread love. We can't save Delonte West by ourselves, but what we can do, we can all give a little. We can all give a little time. We can give a conversation. We can give a meal. We can give a smile and a wave. Hey, how you doing? We can all do that. And if we all give just a little bit of love, all that love is gonna add up, and it's gonna be a bunch of love. And it's gonna make the world a better place. That's just it's kind of unrelated, but it is related, because you look at now when Kobe is gone, Kobe passed, all his ups and downs in his career and in his life, and it's still mostly an outpouring of love from the public, because that's what he showed to the public, is mostly, you know, an outpouring of love. He righted his wrongs, or at least a lot of them in my eyes. He just lived the right way. He lived the right way. Whether it's his work ethic, whether it's just all that stuff. So I just want to motivate all of you guys. If you didn't take anything else from Kobe, learn to always better yourself each and every single day. Strive for greatness. I know that's LeBron's thing. The Mamba mentality, we're going to use that. And also just spread love. Be a great person to those around you. For the Delonte Wests of the world, you might not be able to save everybody. You can't save everybody, but you can do your part in this thing called life. I love you guys if you're watching this. I appreciate it if you made it to the end of the video. I'm probably gonna edit it a lot because I rambled for a few minutes, but thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, take care of yourself. Tell someone that you love them. A person you ain't talked to in a minute, tell them you love them. Until next time.